Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Living in Denver, Colorado. Today we've got a fun one, kind of a serious one, but I gotta throw fun because I always say fun. Clearly subjective to our content, but getting right into it, we're gonna go over an overview of the Denver market and its competition and what that means to you.
What's up, guys? We are the Mile High Property Brothers. I am Eli Schmidt. This is my business partner. Dang. He started lifting a couple months ago.
I've been rowing.
Got huge.
I got a buddy who's about to roll the Atlantic. Side note. So I'm on his training program.
It's true.
Whole other conversation, but
That's for our upcoming fitness YouTube channel.
Ripping me up. But I'm staying strong for this Denver market, is what it is. And that's why I'm doing it.
If we haven't lost you yet and you're still watching us, make sure, guys, you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because we come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and we tell you everything there is to know about either moving to or living in the entire Denver metro area.
Correct, and we are licensed real estate brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with your real estate needs. So any questions, that number below, we are the guys who call back, we are the guys who text message back, or we are the guys who respond to the emails when you guys have questions. So we'd love to help you. But with that, we're gonna get right into it, an overview of the Denver market, the competition of that, and then what that means to you and how you guys can put yourself in the best position in winning what you wanna win.
All right, guys, so one of our favorite things about this channel is reading the comments, talking to you guys over phone calls and Zoom calls, and being able to listen to what you guys are asking in real time. And then, man, once we've heard a handful of people ask a certain question, we're like, all right, we got to make a video about that.
Correct.
So one of the most popular questions that we get is, how competitive is the Denver real estate market? And if you watch the news at all, you probably see that inventory all over the United States is at a very, very low level, and competition is very, very high in a lot of popular areas.
If market was Hulk and Denver was like that other little guy getting slammed back and forth in whatever movie that was,
Yeah, the Avengers.
that's market to Denver. It's definitely, so overall, it's the second most competitive market right now, second to San Diego. I think they kind of fluctuate back and forth. However, before you get too nervous or too scared, does that mean that you guys cannot buy out here? No, absolutely not. There are tips and tricks and just things to be paying attention to that can help you combat that. So as we go over this overview, we're going to talk about price points and the behavior of the different price points. But more importantly, as we get halfway through this video and toward the end, we're going to be talking about how to just navigate that and put yourself in the best position to make sure that you guys are still winning a home where you guys want to live.
Yeah, guys, so one of the biggest things to us is when people say the Denver real estate market, you have to ask yourself, what market? Because every neighborhood's a different market, every city's a different market, every price point is a different market. Whether you're a seller, it's a different market. Whether you're a buyer, it's a different market. So what we're going to do for the sake of this video is we're going to break down just a couple of the different price points of what those market segments look like, and just talk about the different levels of competition.
Correct.
So one of the first primary price point brackets that you're going to see is that 300 up to about 450 range. Now, another common question we get from people is, hey, at what price do I need to get into the market to have not a piece of crap tear down house? And the answer to that is, if you're going to Denver, you could spend $600,000 on a piece of crap tear down house.
Depending on the neighborhood and the proximity to location of Denver.
So talking market whole though, I would say, complete personal opinion, you've got to start looking right at about that 375 to 400 mark to find something that is reasonable, that is going to be decent to move you and your family into.
Right. Obviously, this is all predicated on size, condition, and location, right? So the more outskirts of the Denver metro area that you get, the more affordable they become. The closer you get to Denver, size. So if you're going to stay in that 375 to 450 range, realize the size or condition is going to have to waver a bit the closer proximity you get to Denver. As you get outskirts away from Denver, that size and condition can maybe improve a little bit because your location is not so central Denver, right? So keep all of those things in mind. At the end of the day, this is still real estate, and real estate is still size, condition, location, and demand, right? So keep those things in mind as we walk through this.
To give you guys real life scenario, because those are our favorites, we had a couple from YouTube that we were helping buy a house, and we did it all virtually until we went under inspection, and then he came out and visited, liked the house, and we actually just closed on them last week. So shout out to Adam.
Adam, what up, man?
What's up, Adam? But to give you guys an idea of what that real life scenario looked like, he was pre-approved up to about $475,000, but we knew that that's a competitive price point, so offers were going to be going much higher than asking price. So we started shopping right around that 400 mark, and we ended up finding something for $390, and we ended up winning it at $427, beating 48 other offers.
48!
And we weren't even the highest offer.
Eli gave a kidney.
I did give him a kidney. So, guys, a bunch of stuff went into winning that offer, and I think Will's going to kind of go over that.
Yeah, just some of those tools. So, obviously having a great offer where you go in over asking price, that's great, but people also understand that a home is only going to appraise for so much. So you can offer $1 million on a home. If it doesn't appraise, that buyer doesn't have to pay that price unless they offer what's called an appraisal gap, which means, hey, if it does appraise lower than what we've offered, we are prepared to cover this much of the gap or all of the gap. The other thing that went into play on that one was the inspection objection and the inspection termination. So on that offer, the buyer was okay with waiving inspection objection, which means during the inspection process, it was okay to have an inspection. It just wasn't okay to ask for anything. And if for some reason the inspection was so bad and it was more work than he was willing to do on his own, we could still terminate on inspection, but we were not going to be asking the seller for anything. And that is a tool that not everybody has to use. You have to be okay with it. It's all going to be predicated house by house, right? So it's all circumstantial to how we feel about the home in general, and if we feel that inspection is going to go well. But what that means is, guys, so many people want to get into homes. A seller's like, hey, why would I sell a home to someone who wants to ask me for a ton of stuff on inspection when I can have somebody else come here and just say, hey, you know what, there's a couple things here and there that have to be fixed. We're okay to fix it ourselves. Because the reality is we just won this home, and winning that home was more important for our family than getting a couple of things fixed here and there. It's all going to be case by case, house by house. That's where we love advising and helping you guys the best we can with just investigating the home overall. Obviously, we're not professional inspectors. We have licensed inspectors for that, but just getting our eyes on and really going in depth in what that inspection looks like prepares you guys. But overall, great neighborhood. About middle Aurora, out by Buckley Air Force Base. Really good spot, but again, 48 offers that were on their home, but he wasn't the highest. It was the most well-rounded offer as far as accommodating what that seller needed within the timeline that they needed it. And then the communication from ourselves as agents and that lender, Scott Leffert, Synergy One.
Shout out to Scott.
Great folks. And just making sure that that listing agent and the sellers felt super comfortable overall with the product that we provided. So it's not just your highest and best. Oh, it's always the highest price. It's also who communicates the best and who they feel best to actually get to a closing table.
Yes, and I can say this with complete confidence. I feel like we are two of the greatest real estate agents on the planet, but to be fully transparent with you guys, that property we won for him, that was our third offer that we were putting in. We did get beat out on two others previously. And then sometimes, guys, that's just going to happen. Sometimes it's the first house you win. Sometimes it's the 6th or 7th or 10th house you win.
Correct.
But you guys have to be patient, because here's what's going to happen. You may have the complete perfect offer put together where your buyer is, where you guys as buyers, you're like, hey, we're all in on this. But if it goes for a dime higher than that, we're so okay with someone else taking it.
Yes.
Sometimes that happens.
Yes, and this is so important for you guys as buyers when you're looking at a market, especially as competitive as it is. We can't always worry about what everybody else is doing. What we should be worried about is what we're prepared to offer, any gaps that we're prepared to offer, and anything else as far as amenity-wise on an offer that we can put into that seller, and that you're all in on your offer, right? What we don't want to do is we've got an offer that maybe we put our best foot forward, but not really, and then someone barely beats us out, and we could have won that offer if we'd have done better. So the most important thing is, what are you in a home for? Where are we at when it comes to that offer? How well do we give you guys the education to be prepared for that offer? And if we put our best foot forward and someone else wants to throw money at it, just like we talked about in the last video, hey, cool, we didn't lose. This is what we were in this house for. Somebody wanted to throw money at it, hey, that's okay, we're gonna keep moving. But for this house, that's what we were in it for, and we're okay to walk away if someone else beats us.
Now, one of the other great things, I'm glad he mentioned Scott earlier, because Scott plays a very, very pivotal role in getting offers accepted, not only with his communication with the agents, but in strategizing with you guys as buyers to let you know what all of the tools in your toolbox are. So for example, Adam, that buyer that we were just talking about, he was planning on originally putting about 15% down on the property, 15 or 20%. He had a decent savings. Well, interest rates are so freaking low right now that if for him to have the appraisal gap coverage cash, at least on hand, ready to go, that Will had mentioned earlier,
Yep.
Scott, our lender, talked to him and said, hey man, maybe we don't put down 20%. Yeah, you're gonna have private mortgage insurance, but that's really not that much per month. And then what you can do, you can have this extra 10 or 15 or 20 grand sitting in the bank, and then we can offer that as an appraisal gap coverage if needed.
Correct. So it's on how you allocate your
Yes.
money
Yep.
and how you structure a deal. It's not just about, hey, let me put 15% down. Well, when your interest rate's 2%, you're lending on almost free money. You don't necessarily need to do that to get your monthly mortgage payment where you want it, right?
Yeah.
So at $475,000, 15% was just over $71,000. Instead of putting $71,000 down on a loan where your interest rate's already low, what if we took some of that and allocated it to be prepared for an appraisal gap? And here's the deal: if the home appraises, you don't need the appraisal gap.
In this
You can
case,
then-
it did.
It did, but if it didn't, or if it does, hey, you can put that money and just go ahead and put 15% down. But the bottom line is just being prepared and understanding how to allocate your funds appropriately to structure an offer to get you a home that you win.
So another question that we get is, at what price point do you guys start getting a break as far as competition? Here's what we see. If
$1 million.
No, 2 million, 3 million, shit. Yeah, we were competing up at
There
2
are no
million not
breaks.
that long ago. Here's
Who's
what
that, David Goggins? There's no end.
shout out to
There's
David
no end.
Goggins. A lot of shout outs today. But here's what it's going to look like, guys. So the competition is always going to be there. As long as a house is priced right and shows really well, and it's a good product that agent put on the market that's appealing to people, the competition is always going to be there. You're most likely always going to have multiple offers. However, the number of offers subsides. So we were in that 400 price point. We were at 48 offers. As you start getting into the 500s and 600s, that'll probably go down to about 10 offers.
And sometimes you'll just have 10. So, I mean, the one that was 48 was a little high. We've seen in the high 400s, we've seen like 20 offers, 25 offers, 18 offers. That 46 or 48 was a little high. It was a corner lot. It was close to a military base. I think a lot of that had to do with it. But the bottom line is, it's definitely, you're getting a lot more offers. But I want to also make a point of this. Not all 40 offers were worth a crap. We sell a ton of homes. Just because there's 48 offers there doesn't mean you're competing against 48 offers. There were 4 to 5 max that were solid.
Great
and it's
point.
about coming in with your best foot forward and communicating to where, hey, we're competing against 3 to 5 offers. Where do we sit with those, and how can we beat those? The other ones, they barely call, or they're asking price or below, or they haven't structured a deal properly, and there's mistakes inside the offer, and a seller's agent feels like, hey, this person's just not going to represent their buyer very well if they can't even grammatically articulate on an offer, or that lender's not communicating. So really, it's the top 5 that you got to worry about. But great point, there is a lot more, and and those listing agents have to get through the weed on a lot of them. So the better we can make ourselves known to that agent, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, and guys, I would say about 700 plus is where you do start to see the buyer pool really start to thin out. Even in the 6s, it's really competitive in Colorado. But when you guys see what you can get for that 700 to 800 to 850 price range, especially if you're coming from a place like California or New York, there's a ton of really, really good options for you.
A ton. Bang for buck, Colorado, even though it's growing, it's the second busiest market in the country. bang for buck compared to where some folks are moving from. We've got some folks here from Chicago, from California, from Northern California, and what they're looking at. We've got some clients that right now that are in the mid ones, 1.3, 1.5. They're astonished at what they can get for that price point. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. And again, as you get higher in price points, guys, appraisals and just people's pride in a home and subjectivity of what's value. So we just had a home in Boulder that we closed on not too long ago. That was at 2.175. Originally listed around 2.5. And once you start getting into a couple of $100,000 of each other, that's about as close as it's going to get, because the style of homes are so custom up there. The views are all subjective to where you're at in the mountains. And if a seller thinks that their view is worth $200,000 and a buyer doesn't, well, that's where there's just such a huge gap. So on those, you have less offers, right? So you might be the only offer on that house, and that's okay. But because those sellers are well off and they're financially in a place where they're successful, they don't necessarily have to sell.
Yeah.
So they're not just going to take a low ball offer because you're the only offer. That house was on the market for 100 and something days, and they were not going to budge on certain things. So even though there was less offers, it was more about the subjectivity to seller's opinion, buyer's opinion, how agents work well together to build value for one another, and where people sit to then bring that deal together and then become successful and have it at the closing table.
Will, where are some areas where people can go to find a deal in Colorado?
Ooh, good. Bennett, Erie. I mean, if you go pretty much past Westminster and you start traveling north, right? Anywhere between that and Fort Collins, you've got a lot of good stuff out there.
Firestone, Tacoma.
Really, a lot of unincorporated out there. We've got some friends that are up there that are starting a YouTube channel that are going to be kicking some butt. You could get referred to them. We could really find some good spots for you. Down south, you've got Pueblo. That's in its upfield stage. You've got some good things that are happening down there.
Pueblo is super cheap right now.
Super cheap.
And I don't think it's always going to be that way.
No, and then you've got like on the outskirts, out east, you've got Bennett, Strasburg, and some really good places that are building new builds. And a lot of you guys, like, even though it looks like it's far away from Denver, it's about an hour. A lot of you, depending on where you're coming from, like if you're coming from California, you can't go outside of your house for less than an hour, right? So a lot of what we think might be far, in reality, because Denver's still infant stage and Colorado's still growing overall, you're not as far as you might think, but you've got some really good bang for buck just outside of the Denver metro area. If you guys have questions, there are more areas that we're talking about than just right now. Please reach out. We would love to just point you guys in the right direction with those. And yes, we can still help you, or our team can still help you with those locations.
Yes, and last thing I want to point out, guys, is, man, you don't always need Mr. Right. Sometimes you just need Mr. Right now. And for a lot of you guys that are just coming out to Colorado,
so clever. So am I a Mr. Right now or a Mr. Right?
You're Mr. Right all day.
You better be
You're
clear
Mr.
about
Right
that.
all day. See, he doesn't want to be in a relationship with me, but then he does. He throws little things like that, teasing me. So, guys, a lot of times you might just need Mr. Right now. And what does that mean? You're coming to Colorado. You're trying to plant some roots. Maybe you're thinking about renting for a year or two. Word of caution, guys, our market is appreciating at an insane rate. So you waiting to rent.
It's at 16%.
Yeah.
And we did that the last time. So
Yeah.
while you're talking, right, we're going to go over 16% on 500,000 again.
If you guys are waiting to rent, here's the thing, guys. Maybe you can't afford the beautiful single-family home that you would like now, but maybe you can.
$80,000. 16% of $500,000, guys, is $80,000 of equity that home increase in Colorado as a whole on average was appreciating 16% last year. So what we mean is, if you're going to rent, please understand you're missing out on a ton of equity that you could have in that home, even if you bought a home and stayed in it for just 2 years. Well, it's $80,000 times 2. Do the math.
Yeah.
That's the equity you could have in a home. You could take that and upgrade and do something different if you like. So if you're going to be in an area that you feel is nice, I'm cutting you off, that you feel is nice, that maybe you want to live there, maybe you don't, you might as well make money while you're there. So if you can afford it, and if you can be in a position where we can get you into a home that you can buy, if you're feeling it out anyway because you're new to Colorado, you might as well feel something out while you're making money on it. Let's put our business hat on and let's be smart about our decisions.
And here's the deal, guys. If you don't have that equity, if you're not able to make that 80 grand, you might not ever be able to afford that beautiful single-family home of your dreams.
Well, what's 500 right now? What's it going to be in a year?
That's my whole point. And if you guys aren't able to take that $80,000 or that $160,000 over 2 years and leverage that into a down payment on your next home, you guys may not ever be able to do that.
Huge. It's all about family, putting yourself in a good position, loving your home, but there is a business side, and that business hat too. We want to help you guys build wealth and be smart about the decisions you make so you guys can over time build a portfolio or upgrade from home to home to home and build a lifestyle that you guys want and be smart about it. And yes, in the state of Colorado, there's more than enough opportunity for you to do that.
There is. Cool.
There we go.
I think that's it, guys.
That's it. That's all we got for you today. A little longer. I know we're getting a little bit longer on this video, but definitely some good nuggets for you guys to just understand and educate yourself with. And please, again, reach out. It's true. As much as we love making these videos, we love more helping you guys with your real estate needs. So any specific questions, call the number, text the number, throw us an email. We would love to either help you guys out ourselves directly or have our team help you out. And just make sure that you guys are making proper decisions with yourself getting to Colorado.
And subscribe.
There you go. Until next time, we will see you soon.
All right, take care, guys.
See you guys.